So many of us find ourselves living our entire lives online. Well, join us in the real world as we discuss life on the internet next on Views and Vibes.
My sadness and depression grew out of giving myself to my career before I would give myself to myself.
I didn't want to tell my parents. I really didn't want to tell anybody, and I didn't. I shut down.
Giving voice to what you're feeling is part of the healing.
The healing is in me and can also be extended to others.
If you're strong enough to just open your mouth, that's all it takes.
Hi, I'm Terry Williams. Can I tell you that it is way past time for us to come face to face with the issue of mental illness in the Black community? Time for us to stop hiding it behind closed doors, share ourselves. Healing starts with us.
We have become obsessed with status checks on Facebook, tweets on Twitter, and every other source of instant information that can come across our screens, whether it's on our Blackberries, on our iPhones, or even those old-fashioned LCD computer monitors. From when we first wake in the morning, through our work and school days, and until we drag ourselves off to bed at night, many of us have become so intertwined with our lives virtually, we have lost the true connections to the real. Joining us today to examine the ways we give our lives to the World Wide Web, our operator of the blog, The Black Snob, Ms. Danielle Belton, the owner of J5 Web Solutions and host of the radio program Moon Man and the Fun Bunch, Ms. Kima Qualls, and owner of the website hotghettomess.com and author of the book Conversate Is Not a Word, Ms. Jam Donaldson. Welcome, and Jam is also a co-host on Moon Man and the Fun Bunch. That's our whole connection here. Welcome, you guys, to Views and Vibes. Glad to have you guys on here to talk about our lives and the way that we live. We've seen as a culture to live on the internet. Starting off, when you look at the movie The Matrix and how those bodies were all connected to the Matrix and they lived their lives virtually, has that become like a certain prophecy for the way that we live in America now? Are we all so connected to the internet that we don't even have our real lives anymore?
I mean, go ahead. Well, I feel like it's, if you're someone who is an introvert, who isn't naturally able to to make connections with people, the internet becomes very seductive because it's a way for you to pretend to be an extrovert, behind a mask.
Right.
So you can be whoever who you've always wanted to be. You can be just about anyone, or you can be an amplified version of yourself because you have that extra layer of protection. It's not like one-on-one, a one-on-one encounter where you have to look someone in the eye. You can say anything. Online. It's empowering for some people.
The same thing happened in the Matrix, though. People can actually become whatever they want to. Imagine themselves to be whatever they want to in the Matrix. Who are they? Who are we as people offline now?
It also gives people a voice. Like with blogging, and you all of a sudden have the ability to interact with whoever you want to say whatever you want to comment, to put your own voice out there. If you're not a writer for a newspaper, how else will anybody hear your words unless you can go on the internet? And the internet also gives you like, it's almost like virtual real estate. Anybody can get on, you need, J5 Web Solutions, you need $15 to get a domain name, but then you can get your own, find your own space. There's no, zoning requirements. There's no paperwork that you have to meet. You can just get on there, set up whatever you want to do, a store, blog, a column, a newspaper. You can do whatever you want on there. And unless you say something crazy, nobody is really going to, say, oh, you can't do that.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, I think that the access it's given us to each other and internationally is really wonderful. And it's been this great forum for expression, and the way we can be connected 24 hours. I mean, in some ways it's really good, and in some ways it's really bad. It can be in very isolating existence. And a lot of people are, withdraw from real human life experiences and real human people. in favor of the internet. So I think there are pros and cons to it.
Well, going back to Danielle's point, for those people who are naturally introverted, if they have become so addicted to the internet because it gives them a chance to become an extrovert, but they still are that same reclusive person, you know, in actual reality, is that addiction dangerous?
It can be to a certain extent, because at the end of the day, you still have to function in the real world. You're still gonna have to go on job interviews. If your goal is to meet people, you're still gonna have to go on dates.
But do you? I mean, you have people working from the home. You have people actually interviewing over the telephone. Do you even have to go outside in the real world to interact with people anymore?
No, you don't.
You can choose to be a recluse if you want to, but it does kind of limit what your access to things are. Because then it becomes, well, where do you live? And, you know, what's your neighborhood like? You know, how easy it is for things to get delivered. If you live in a big city, then yeah, it's real easy, you know, because so many things are right there for you.
Right.
Like, but if you lived in the country, yeah, I don't think you can't get groceries delivered in Newport, Arkansas. Like, you have to actually physically, you know, go to a grocery store.
Right.
I don't know.
But-
They got a giant. 'Cause, you know, I've gotten groceries delivered.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know.
now that I moved to a better neighborhood, we get pizza delivered.
Yeah.
We get. I mean, you actually. I mean, and working from home, you actually. There are days you don't even go outside.
Yeah.
Because you just get so caught up in, you know, working on the internet and doing everything, ordering food, books.
Right.
You know, beauty supply. You can order everything and anything on the internet, get it delivered, and never go outside.
Yeah.
So for people, like you said, who are naturally introverted, they may, you know, just have their whole existence inside their own little bubble and never have to interact with people.
But I think the problem is when people who are even extroverted, once you start and suddenly you're ordering all of your stuff online and you're looking at your movies on the Netflix and you're on the internet all day, suddenly someone who once had a vibrant social life and they were out and about and meeting people, you know, I think sometimes it can have an effect of closing your universe a little bit. I mean, I am definitely a witness sitting on testimony to that, where you interact with your friends online so much, you never stop to think, we haven't been out in 3 months.
Right, exactly.
And so you kind of, I think you have to make a conscious effort to maintain some sort of normal human being life.
Right.
Or I think it can get really limiting.
And that brings me to another question. Because people spend so much time online, they spend so much time at home, whether it's communicating with their friends, ordering online, doing things of that nature, can that be contributing to the downturn in our economy because people aren't going out to clubs anymore as much? People aren't going out and spending at the local food chains, you know, restaurants or local restaurants. They're ordering everything online. They're ordering everything at home, you know, to be brought home. Can that actually be one of the things that are actually helping to harm the economy because people aren't going out anymore?
No, people are still, but they're still buying stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just a shift in.
But then let me say local economies then. Local economy. Because if you order
because
everything online.
Yeah, but if you order everything online and the business is based here, you're still buying something from somebody based here. So it's just a shift in where the money is going. It just, yeah.
And I think it depends on the business and the particular industry. Like, if you're a movie theater, the internet is bad for you. People can just,
If you're the
you
record business.
if you have Netflix, you know, you can stream, you know, thing on, like, if you're on a video store, it's very bad for you. But other things, like, you know, I went out last night, you know, to the W. Like, okay, I wish some of those people would have stayed home. You know, I could have a better experience. Like, if they had decided to stay online that night, you know, and virtually access the W. But there's no virtual way to go high profile in Washington, D.C. and pretend to be special.
Well, those
Sure you
people-
can. You can
In
be
your
on
own
TV.
mind.
Right.
Right.
Or you can do a reality show. There you go.
but those people who are actually on the internet and having, you know, seems to have better experiences on the internet, is it kind of giving them a reason not to go out anymore? And we'll talk about that when we come back from the break. We'll be back right after this, Views and Vibes, y'all.